parents are so much more involved in their kids' lives than they were generations ago. And that's a good thing until it becomes too much. Like when we do the over-parenting, when we're overindulging, overpraising, doing things for kids at all ages that they can do for themselves. We do all these things in the name of love, but it does contribute to that ongoing entitlement.
You can want J's, you can want Nikes, but if I go to the store and I see some nice Pumas, that's what you're gonna get. And you're gonna be satisfied with it. Yeah, until you can go out there and make your own money and buy your own stuff, that's what it is. But to say...
Okay, say they don't want J's, say they want Nike. Right? Say they want Nike.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not performing like they should in school and they're not paying the addition right. Actually keep telling them.
It's a want versus a need. Do they need shoes?
Yes.
Then you get them what you think is okay.
Will you get them Nike? See, that's what I'm saying. You're not wanting to say the answer.
Hey, welcome back to Black Press. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Now let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back to We Are Black Press. I'm your girl Trish.
And I'm your boy Mr. Defyned.
And we got some interesting topics for you today.
This is gonna be hot.
Yeah, we might argue.
This is a big thing right here. So
we might argue on this one.
I was watching the news the other day, and this great topic came up, and I wanted to share it with our community and talk about it.
All right, let's hear it.
Today's society can be a world of immediate access and instant gratification. This could lead to higher levels of expectation among some kids.
It's a phenomenon that some experts are calling the entitlement epidemic. An increasing number of kids have an all-about-me mentality, leaving some parents struggling to balance indulgence and discipline. So here was some advice to help strike that balance is founder of Positive Parenting Solutions, Amy McCready. Amy, thanks so much for joining us here. So you actually wrote a book talking about this called the Me epidemic. 3 me's, right?
That's right.
And it gives parents a step-by-step guide to teach their kids gratitude in an over-entitled world. Walk us through some of the signs that you might have an issue here.
Yeah, so all kids have their moments. So we have to distinguish between whether a kid's just having a rough day or they're exhibiting ongoing signs of entitlement. So that would be things like expecting to get what they want when they want it. Right? Blaming others rather than taking responsibility, expecting to be rescued from their mistakes or difficult situations, looking for rewards for just doing mundane things, and just generally not being grateful for all that they have.
Why do you think we're seeing this increase in entitlement among kids? And is there a specific age group that seems to be more impacted than others? I think of, my niece who's under the age of 5, but I know my sister worries about making sure she's not getting everything that she wants to do at that exact time, which can be hard when everybody else in the family is like, let's let her do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think parents with kids of all ages worry about this. And in fact, there are some societal differences that contribute over the generations. So, think about years ago on the family farm, like everybody had to contribute for the family to survive. Today, that's not the case. We're happy if we can get the help, but it's not like essential for the family's survival. Today, we have technology and social media and nonstop selfies, and that all plays a role. And parents are so much more involved in their kids' lives than they were generations ago. And that's a good thing until it becomes too much. Like when we do the over-parenting, when we're overindulging, overpraising, doing things for kids at all ages that they can do for themselves. We do all these things in the name of love, but it does contribute to that ongoing entitlement.
So are there things we can do to unentitle our kids? Is that the word we use? And how young do you start that then?
Well, we start young, and there are actually 3 things that parents can start doing right away. The first thing is to expect more. So all kids, toddlers to teens, should be expected to do family contributions on a daily basis. And we are not paying kids to do chores because you get paid at work, but you don't get paid to cook meals or take out the trash, right? In an unentitled home, everybody who lives in the household has to contribute to the household. Second thing is we are going to give up on giving in because so often we say yes when we should really say no. But kids need for us to say no and set those limits. We're going to have to put up with some pouting and disappointment in the short term, but they're going to get the message that they don't get their way just because they beg and badger. And then the third thing is to hand over the reins, because every time that we rescue our kids or we intervene on their behalf, we rob them of the opportunity to take responsibility, and then they just stop trying. So we have to just set the expectation that it's your job to remember your homework. It's your job to have the talk with the coach about playing time. I'll be there to support you, but you're going to feel so much more empowered. The child's going to feel so much empowered by doing those things on their own.
You mentioned overparenting. Do you have some specific examples where people tend to do that? So if you're in a situation where you think, am I overparenting here, you can catch yourself and correct.
Yes. Well, very often it's when we are doing things that the kid should be able to do on their own. They're developmentally ready to do that on their own, but we take over. Another huge source of overparenting that most parents don't think about is rewards. You know, when we hand out rewards for every little thing that the kid does, that's kind of at the heart of entitlement, right? So it seems like a very popular parenting tactic, but it actually undermines what we're trying to do. The research is clear on this, that when we dangle external rewards to get a particular behavior we want, it actually undermines, it diminishes their internal or intrinsic motivation. So there are lots of little things that we do that kind of foster that me attitude.
All right. Founder of Positive Parenting Solutions, Amy McCready. I feel like a lot of parents are listening to this and taking notes right now, so we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us about it.
Thank you. All right, TikTok.
Thank you.
So I know it was a long video, and I wanted to play it all the way through because this was something that really resonated with me, because this is how a lot of times we do even our kids, but just the community, within the community. The first thing that I was thinking about is making sure our kids have all the newest clothes, the newest pair of Jordans, and regardless of what they do or how well they do in school, how well they do at home, it's just that was the first thing I thought about. It's giving those type of rewards without any expectations. What do you think about that?
Okay, so the whole time we were watching the video, and she was explaining things like, yeah, kids nowadays are entitled. They feel like it's me. It should be me. I think if you really think about it, they're talking about two different environments of parenting. So most likely the entitled parents or the entitled children are the ones that come from like hardworking parents. They pour into their children and stuff like that. Most of the time that's white people.
I kind of disagree on that point.
And then you have black people. They teach their kids survival. So I feel they teach it. Most of them.
Well, kids are surviving out here.
It depends. So a lot of black people teach their children survival because it's hard and tough out here in this world. So I'm gonna teach you the tough and hard knocks inside
girls,
boys too.
Then why are so many women upset about? Why are so many women upset about not getting no good men out here?
That's why I said it depends. It depends on the background, the environment.
The majority.
The majority. It all depends on the geographical area. So in like ghetto or hood areas, you have like maybe like 50% of them that knows what a struggle is, but sometimes their parents taught them, okay, you gonna go out there, you gonna hustle, you gonna get money, I'm gonna teach you the ropes, so you gonna go out there and learn it out there, because once you do that, you're liable to have the streets raise your children.
I disagree, and because I say that I think we want to us that grew up in the struggle want to give our kids more, but that's to the point where we give them more without them deserving it.
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you give them more, but
because they didn't work for it, so they're still growing up entitled.
but they're learning how to get it themselves. Like, and then
how are they going to learn how to get it themselves? Are they doing chores without expecting a reward? Are they cleaning their own room without expecting a reward?
Mm-hmm.
Are they doing things in sports? Are they doing things in school
mm-hmm.
without receiving an award for a grade that you're supposed to get? Because you're supposed to get an A because you're in school.
Mm-hmm.
You getting an A doesn't benefit me. It benefits you.
But but as a parent, you also have to make sure that they're understanding what they're learning and grabbing the concept, because there's a lot of children that go through the gaps because they have these learning developmental delays, or they have some type of distraction going on, or they can't concentrate on the subjects that are at hand.
See, but that we always want to go to what the society is saying are issues, when in fact some kids just aren't afraid of their parents.
Mm-hmm.
I had minimal issues, but
mm-hmm.
you know why? For one, I'll say we didn't grow up getting any reward for chores.
Mm-hmm.
We barely got rewards for good grades other than good job.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely got some rewards for bad grades. I got some rewards that my butt can still think about. But the thing that kept me more so in line
mm-hmm.
was that one odd chance that I might look at the door and see my daddy standing through that window looking at me. That the fear of my dad, me looking up as I'm playing and doing something I'm not supposed to be doing in class, and I look up and go, that is what kept me in line.
Mm.
We ain't got kids that do that. I mean,
because you don't teach your children to be. No, you don't teach your children to fear you.
Why not?
You teach them to respect you. You teach them to respect you, and with that respect comes the respect that I know I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
The first level of respect is knowing
it's
who's
fear.
Greater.
Fear.
No,
fear.
not fear. Who's greater?
That I can agree with. Yes, that I can agree with. However, when you instill fear into it, it also takes from them developmentally when they're trying to process. Okay, can I do this without getting behind whipped? Or that puts unneeded fear in the children.
They're not going to get their behind whipped, and then that just makes them more likely to do it anyway.
It doesn't have to be a whipping, though. It could be some type of punishment.
So what is a child fear? What does a child initially fear?
What do you think?
What's the punishment that actually works?
Learning your lesson. You see a fire, you touch it, you gonna get burned. But the fire's not gonna spark up and start beating and hitting you. But I'm telling you, like,
I mean, like a real example. Because here's the issue for me is we're giving our children, especially nowadays, because we have more of us that are making more money.
Yeah.
Especially in the black community, is more women making more money.
Mm-hmm.
But they're giving their kids more than they are actually earning. But they hold the girl children more accountable than the boys, for one.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're upset because the boys are getting all the J's that they want, or the Nikes. It's like it's supposed to be levels to what you receive versus what you do.
A lot of that happens out of guilt. Most people,
you're giving them what we didn't have.
But most people, they either giving them what they didn't have, or making up for the fact that you're absent.
Or they're just giving their child stuff because they want to make them happy, but they're not teaching them nothing.
Yeah.
Like this, there should be levels of tennis shoes based off your grades.
See, I don't equate J's with. I want to equate J's with A's. If you're
J's for A's, that's the tag. Hashtag that one.
if you have a child and you're able to provide, it doesn't mean like that you have to go and get like knockoff shoes, or they still sell those Shaq shoes.
Yeah, and ones.
Yeah, or get one of those just because they're making bad grades. Why not?
Because
they might be struggling
why
in
you
school,
keep
but
bringing it to that? You can't keep bringing it to that. I'm talking about
Okay.
a capable child.
Uh-huh.
We always want to go to the lowest level of the side where
Because a lot of
times it's not no. A lot of times mean I'm not afraid of looking at that window and seeing my daddy at the window.
well, of course, if you have a child that is capable of scoring that A or capable of passing that grade, and they're not,
Do you still them J's?
No.
Nikes?
of course not.
So
They get what you give them.
So
basically,
I would add what you're talking about to the idea of raising entitled children, because
Okay.
we will give them more reasons not to be successul
hmm
by saying, oh, you just lower in development. Teaching, in order to teach children at a higher level, you have to hold them to a higher standard, a higher level standard. That's what's going on in our communities. There are schools and whole school districts that are lowering the level or the expectations of the children, and that's why we have lower grades and less children being able, especially boys, being able to make it into college. And we have colleges that are receiving these high grades from students that when they get into the classroom, these students are not able to perform at the level that the school said they were at because the school lowered the standard. We're lowering the standard and then asking why they're not being successful. We have to raise the standard and stop giving kids a reason, and us as black people have to stop giving ourselves a reason for not being successful, because all it is pacifying our feelings versus what we can actually achieve. We're not wanting to do it because guess what? It takes a little bit more focus. It takes a little harder work. And guess what? I'd rather say, no, I got this. I didn't grow up with a right background. My daddy wasn't there. Or you're developmentally stunted, so we're going to put you on this IEP. But at the same time, are you holding them to a standard? And I don't think we're holding our children to a standard, especially not the standard that we were held to when we were growing up. And that's why we're pushing out less achievement in our community.
I partially agree with that, but I still think the root of it is finding where their weaknesses are. Because if you do have a
weakness, then what?
Then you work with them on that. Because if they have,
what if it's not a weakness in school, but it's a weakness in chores? Then what?
It still equates to the same thing, because if they're lacking in one area, then a lot of times it's going to show up somewhere else.
So if you have, no, I wouldn't say.
I would say so. Yeah.
Where else would? So if you have a kid that won't clean the bathroom, no matter how many times you tell them they won't clean the bathroom, where would you think to look next for the other lack?
You could look. Just looking at cleanliness. How are they carrying themselves? Is their hygiene good? Because if leading to stuff like that, if you have a child that isn't taking care of themselves the way that they're supposed to and doing their chores, then that could lead to other things. The next thing you know, they're getting bullied at school for the way they smell or the way they come to school. It's true, because if you go to school and
I would jump to bullying from not cleaning the bathroom.
Because if you're not cleaning the bathroom, that also relates to not keeping yourself clean. You're not keeping yourself clean, then you're going to school, and then you're smelling funny, and then you get bullied.
Fix it. That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking what I'm saying. What do you do to fix it?
It's just reinforcement and making sure that you're constantly on them, but not.
So what you I mean. To me, that sounds like you're saying what I was saying. If there's an area of improvement, you don't, because it sounded like you were saying find out where their area of improvement is, or where they need to improve at. But it was more so to give them an out. But what it sounds like you're really saying is you find that area of improvement and hold them to a standard, and then don't lower the standard, and then make them rise to that occasion.
A standard is somewhere that they're supposed to reach. If they're falling below that line, you have to, as a parent, bring them up to that line.
Right.
Now, be it they reach that standard or exceed that standard, this is the baseline and this is where you're supposed to be at. If you're not there, let me help you get there. How am I going to help you get there? I'm going to reinforce and make sure that I'm checking on you and making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to reach that checkpoint, because children only do what you tell them to do. If you're not reinforcing and you're not constantly on them, of course they're gonna slack off. It happens with adults at work. If you don't have,
they ain't being held to a standard either.
if you don't have a certain metrics that you're supposed to reach, you're going to go to work, you're going to do bare minimum, you're going to be like, okay, I did enough.
Okay.
What else do they want me to do?
Here's the issue, and what it seems to me that we're talking about here is when they don't meet the standard, or they meet the standard one time because you stood over them and watched them do it, and then you're like, good job, let's go get some ice cream. I just had to sit here and watch you do that. The only way I could get you to do that was for me to stand here and watch you do it. No, we're not getting ice cream. Now, next time you do it by yourself, and we'll talk about it. But if I gotta keep watching you, or holding your hand, and telling you, oh, you
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, but helicopter parenting, I don't believe in that.
Okay, but then how do you improve it?
You also have to allow them to make their mistakes too.
No,
yes,
no mistakes.
But there are, because
if we go
in learning the correct way for them to clean, you have to allow. Take for example this. You tell them to go in and wash the dishes. Mm-hmm. They go, they wash the dishes. You go check the wash.
Did you show them how to wash it?
Yes, you show them how to wash it. You go, and they understand what to expect. They understand the standard.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them, all right, now, you remember how I told you to wash the dishes, right? Yes. All right, go down there and wash the dishes.
And then they don't.
They wash the dishes, or they wash the dishes. You go check it. Is grease on there? There's still stains. No, these dishes are not clean. Let me show you why. Let me show you where you messed up at. This is greasy. There's still spots in here.
Yeah, that's the same thing as helicopter parenting.
Clean it. It's not helicopter parenting. Is watching them while they're doing it.
And then
that's why I say you have to
do it right.
That's why I say you have to allow for them to make their mistakes, because once you show them,
you should only show them one time.
No, you can show them multiple times. You can show them as much times as you feel like until they get it. If they are not getting it or not understanding it, there's a certain way that maybe get somebody else to explain it, because maybe you're not explaining it in a way that they can understand. Maybe your comprehension isn't what they can receive.
When they don't do it right, after you showed them, you still give them cake and ice cream.
Cake and ice cream. You can't ask me about snacks because.
Do you still get them the new clothes that they want? If they are not cleaning the dishes to your standard, and you keep having to show them, do you still take them to get the nicest clothes that they want?
I don't believe what I say is
yes or no.
They're gonna get what you give them. You're not gonna come to me and be like, "Oh, I got these."
Answer that question.
No, I'm answering your question.
No. You're not getting the question. You're making a different statement.
I'm gonna get them what I feel is nice.
So you're for continuing to raise me kids.
No, because me kids, they have an expectation. They have an expectation of what they want.
Right.
I'm meeting your needs. I'm not meeting your wants. You can want J's, you can want Nikes, but if I go to the store and I see some nice Pumas, that's what you're gonna get. And you're gonna be satisfied with it. Until you can go out there and make your own money and buy your own stuff.
Okay.
That's what it is. But to say
say they don't want J's, say they want Nikes. Right? Say they want Nikes.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not performing like they should in school, and they're not cleaning the dishes right. After you keep telling them. You still get Nikes.
It's a want versus a need. Do they need shoes?
Yes.
then you get them what you think is okay.
Will you get them Nike? See, that's what I'm saying. You're not wanting to say the answer. You're not wanting to say the real answer because you're not.
No, because
okay,
I'm giving you an answer.
No, you're not. Are you gonna, if they want Nikes, are you gonna get them Nikes knowing that they're not performing in school or doing the chores like you want to?
Okay, see, breakdown. This is where comprehension comes in because obviously he said something. He said something, and I'm answering his question, and he doesn't think. So please write in the comments
what you think. Nikes.
I just told you they gonna get what I give them. And if it's Nikes, be it Nikes,
so that means they got what they wanted without having to do what you expected them to do. Yes.
No.
Yes, they did. No. They got Nikes, even though they didn't have the grades or the chores right.
But
they got what they wanted without having to do anything or to rise to the standard. Therefore, you've raised an entitled child.
Yeah, you doing wants versus needs.
No,
if I'm a meet your needs.
If you need shoes, I'm gonna get you these AN1s.
Whatever you feel is okay for them.
I want you to have Nikes, and you want Nikes, so I'm gonna get you these Nikes. But I'm still gonna have to wash these dishes over.
No.
Entitled kids.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.